Imagine writing books so strange, so haunting, that you beg your best friend to burn them forever. And then he says no. Franz Kafka, the man whose name became shorthand for absurd, nightmarish bureaucracy, died in 1924. On his deathbed, he told his friend Max Brod, "Destroy all my unpublished manuscripts." So here's the paradox. Kafka's dying wish was to vanish from history. Instead, breaking that wish made him immortal. Would you want your best friend to keep that promise? Or betray it for the sake of the world? By day, Kafka lived a life that could hardly be called romantic or artistic. His fiction was unlike anything most people had seen. Characters found themselves accused of crimes they never understood, trapped in systems whose rules shifted without explanation, and navigating worlds where every attempt to make sense of the situation only deepened the confusion. The mood was tense, surreal, and often quietly humorous in the darkest ways. Over time, Kafka's name would become an adjective, Kafkaesque. It describes situations that are nightmarishly complex, illogical and oppressive, yet somehow ordinary enough that you can imagine them happening to you. Picture calling a government office to fix a simple mistake on a document. You are transferred from department to department, each one insisting they are not responsible until you find yourself back where you started. Franz Kafka's most widely regarded best book is usually considered to be the Trial der Prozess, though some argue for the Metamorphosis, die Verwandlung, depending on whether you count his shorter works. The Trial is one of Franz Kafka's most famous novels, published in 1925 after his death. It tells the unsettling story of Joseph K., a seemingly ordinary man who wakes up one morning to find himself arrested by officials from a strange court. He is never told what crime he has supposedly committed, and yet he is forced into a long, confusing process of defending himself against invisible accusations. The book is filled with dreamlike, nightmarish episodes in which Joseph K. moves through shadowy court offices hidden in attics, encounters clerks and judges who seem powerless yet all-powerful, and struggles against an endless web of bureaucracy. Throughout, he never gains clarity about the charges or the rules of the system. The novel reflects themes of guilt, powerlessness, and the crushing weight of faceless authority. The Metamorphosis is Franz Kafka's most famous novella. First published in 1915, it begins with one of the most striking openings in literature. Gregor Samsa, a traveling salesman, wakes up to find himself transformed into a giant, insect-like creature. Despite this horrifying change, Gregor's first thoughts are not about his body but about missing work and disappointing his boss, which immediately sets the tone of anxiety and alienation. Unlike The Trial, which unfolds across a complex legal nightmare, The Metamorphosis is more intimate and symbolic. It can be read as a metaphor for illness, disability, or the crushing effects of modern work and family expectations. Kafka's spare, matter-of-fact style makes the absurd premise even more unsettling. When people speak of Kafka's paradox, they usually mean the strange tension at the heart of his writing and worldview. His works are deeply personal and painfully human. Yet they are also abstract, elusive, and often impossible to pin down. Kafka's characters are trapped in systems that seem both meaningless and deeply meaningful at the same time, as if the world is governed by rules that can never quite be understood but must somehow be obeyed. One form of this paradox is his portrayal of law and authority. In The Trial, Joseph K. never learns his crime, yet he feels guilty. The paradox is that he is both innocent and guilty innocent because he never knowingly committed a crime. Guilty because existence itself in Kafka's world carries an invisible burden of fault. Another paradox lies in his famous novella, The Metamorphosis. Gregor becomes an insect, which is absurd and impossible. Yet the reactions of his family and employer are disturbingly realistic. The story is fantastic, yet it feels true to life. Kafka creates situations that are impossible in reality but reveal the deepest truths about reality. On a personal level, Kafka lived a paradox too. He longed for intimacy and family but feared being consumed or trapped by them. He worked in an insurance office that he resented but also relied on for order. He wanted his writings destroyed but secretly ensured they would survive by entrusting them to Max Brod. Kafka's paradox, in short, is the simultaneous pull of opposites: guilt and innocence, belonging and alienation, desire and fear, absurdity and truth. His writing never resolves these contradictions, but instead makes the reader feel their inescapable weight.